want to share a few thoughts about doing a case presentation or a clinical vignette to an audience. This is primarily about presenting to a medical or science audience, but maybe there are some principles that generalize to others. These are my personal thoughts. Others may have different views. So if something works for you, that's great. If not, just move on by. And my advice is aspirational. I certainly do not have it all worked out, but like everyone else, I'm just trying every day to get a little bit better than I was yesterday. So let me start by noting 3 things that you absolutely want to avoid. Don't be boring. Don't be irrelevant. Don't be unclear. And in the general principles that I will speak about, you will see how these pitfalls can so easily creep in if you're not paying attention. So these are my 7 principles for a good case presentation. First, know your audience. This is key to understanding what they need and what they want to hear. It also determines what knowledge you can assume. If you overestimate their understanding, for example, they are a non-specialist audience, then you speak over their heads. More commonly, though, in my experience, is that you underestimate their knowledge. You are talking to a specialist audience who already know quite a lot about the subject. So you end up wasting time telling them things that they already know. This leads to the second point. Don't waste time. Especially, don't waste time talking about things that people already know or things not specifically relevant to the point you want to make. People do not need a long summary. You do not need to spend ages talking about the background. Get on with it and tell your story. Which leads to the third point. It is a story, so tell it like it is. And like any good story, there must be a clear narrative, because people respond to stories. And if it is a case presentation, it is already a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And consider the gaps, the things that have to be there for the story to make sense. But also consider the unnecessary fillers, the things that do not need to be there. And speakers often put in too much irrelevant detail. It may be borderline interesting, but it is not critical to the story, so it ends up being distracting. So for every sentence that you have, every picture, every slide, always ask yourself, is this necessary for the story, or would the story be okay without it? Because if the latter is true, then the story will actually be better without it because you are not distracting the listener with irrelevant details. Point number 4, what is your message and is it clear? What is the end point of your story? Where do you want to lead the audience? You must be absolutely clear about this before you start, because if you are not clear, then the audience will not be clear. Leave the audience with one clear message, maybe at best a couple of related and relevant observations, but make sure it doesn't obscure your primary message. The question always is it important or interesting to the audience? Your message could be an important scientific principle. It could be a pitfall. It could be an unusual case. It could be a good demonstration of an important and common principle that we should never forget. It could simply be helping people to understand the difficulties of your particular situation. But regardless, be clear specifically about what you want to say and how you interpret it going forward. Point number 5, don't run out of time and don't run over. It is disrespectful and creates trouble for the speakers coming after you. I have made and continue to make this mistake. Do not overestimate your importance compared to everyone else. You have limited time. And in the real world setting, you will end up speaking longer than you anticipate. So have a conservative target. End at 90% of the time allocated. Make time for discussion by finishing even earlier. You want feedback from your audience. You want to hear different perspectives. And so often that's the best thing about conferences, and the one we often complain we don't have enough time for. Number 6, put in the effort to make it a good presentation. The best presentations come from people who have put time and thought into crafting their presentation. When someone has thrown something together at the last minute, you can see it. Now, sometimes you can get away with it if you are experienced and you have already given a lot of thought to the subject, because you have already done all the hard work in your mind to be clear about your message. But for most people, rather spend your time considering your message and if it comes across as you intend, and then practice it if you need. Number 7, cut, cut, cut. This is the reason that even the best writers have editors, the best filmmakers, the best musicians in a studio, because we all have the tendency to overwrite or overplay. You need to practice the art of editing. Put your thoughts down and then relentlessly cut back. Unnecessary or weak parts, cut. More words than needed, cut. More figures or slides or pictures than needed, cut. Anything obscuring the main message, however interesting and however much you are attached to it, be brutal and cut it out. Editing is a lifelong process to improve our final product. Usually less is more. I think of it as pruning, a basic principle of gardening and also of the developing central nervous system. It is probably one of the best and hardest lessons we need to learn and continually learn for the whole of our lives. And that's it. I hope this has been useful to you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit like and subscribe to the channel so that we can bring you more content. And good luck with your case presentations.